This is part 2 of my discussion of the religious victory in Civilization 6. If you have not actually watched the first part, I would recommend you do that because this part will probably not make an awful lot of sense if you don't. I have found something else that is annoying me a little bit about the way religion is handled in Civilization 6, and I thought I would mention it. But before I do that, I want to clear up a misconception that seems to have occurred with quite a few people regarding the last video. I don't dislike the religious victory because I don't know how to beat it or because I lost to it. I've played a lot of Civilization games and I've lost to domination victories, science victories, all the victories. I've lost in every possible way. This was the first time where I really wasn't too impressed with the mechanic itself, the way I lost. But I can tell you I know exactly how to beat it. It's not that difficult. The easiest way to beat the religious victory is to become religious. I did a game. This was the game I played straight after the one I lost, actually. I finished this a few days ago. I played this straight afterwards because obviously I just lost to religion. I got the Japanese culture and I basically made a beeline for a great prophet, started a religion. It's a very sort of it was Taoism, it was all about meditation, warrior strength, that type of thing. I did not try to spread it. What I did was I created an Inquisition. So I've got Inquisitors. I went straight for that. I got my religion the improvements it needs. I got an Inquisitor in every single city so I can combat his religion. And indeed, I actually put apostles at key points on the border. This is inside a holy city because it does seem that when they send their apostles over to try and convert you, they will stop at any of your apostles and try and fight them. And if they are in a fully upgraded holy city, the chances are your apostles will actually win and win massively. I destroyed hundreds of him. He was just sending them wave after wave after wave. One thing I did like was that the AI figured this out and actually stopped sending them after a while. They basically gave up because they realized it wasn't working. They were not getting past my religious defenses. And even if they did, I have got an Inquisitor in every city and I can just cleanse it of religion. That it's so easy, and the Inquisitors are so cheap with regards faith. You can see I've got 12,000 faith. I'm not even spending it. I could just create Inquisitors forever. Now, I didn't go for a religious victory. This was my defense against religion. I was going for a science victory. I didn't actually make it because the same person who was trying to win via religion switched tactics and went for a cultural win, and so I ended up having to battle him there. It was India, and they were closing in on the victory, so I went into overdrive on the culture side of things, and he was still beating me slightly on tourism per turn. And that's how you win. You win by getting tourists, believe it or not. That's how I won this game. I won the race for tourism. I still haven't quite got the mechanics figured out because he is slightly ahead of me in tourism per turn, but I'm ahead of him in culture massively. But it's tourists that decide it. I think what it means is he was getting more international tourists, but I was getting more domestic tourists. Therefore, his win point was so much further than mine. So even though he's got more tourists than me, I beat him. That's because my culture was just overwhelming. This meant I didn't get the science victory. So believe it or not, I'm slightly disappointed by this even though I won. I wanted to win with the space victory. Now, I did learn a valuable lesson from this because I got the option, the science, to get the cultural victory fairly early on, but I didn't have cities big enough to build a spaceport. I think you have to have a city of size, was it 15? I don't know. I couldn't build it for ages. And so he managed to get his spaceport built before I'd even started mine, and I'd already got future tech. I was on future tech, and he'd only just got to the point where he could have a spaceport, and he made it. It was kind of irritating because Actually, had I not beaten him on the cultural victory, I might have lost the science victory, even though I was massively ahead of him. I think I could catch it up. I think I could catch it up because when you look at it, he's still lacking all of the science for the last part. And I've pretty much got everything. All I need to do is actually build it and launch it. And I was looking forward to that race. Anyway, the main point is, defeating religion this way was not that hard. One other thing that people took exception to was me saying the only way to fight religion was with religion, and actually you're right about that. I kind of said it was a bit flippant. You can of course go to war. It is possible to fight religion by either wiping out the civilization that's winning the religious race, or indeed just killing anybody who sends apostles over your borders. Now, I had one such game. This was with Teddy Roosevelt. I got the American leader, and so I was going for a very sort of secular science win. Again, I'm still trying to get that science win, believe it or not. It's still the type of win I have not got yet. So I started my civilization. I was doing pretty well. My neighbor was China again, and they were so nice to me. We became best friends. We became allies several points, and they do have a religion, and I did not stop him from spreading his religion because he was my friend, and I decided to go for a very open, secular type society. But now I'm in this horrible situation where if you look at the religious victory, he's actually ahead because he's converted me. And I have a horrible feeling he's going to win by converting other people. So I now have two choices. I either, I don't know, somehow try to get the religion here switched to someone else's religion, which is not as easy as it sounds, but, you know, I suppose it is possible, or I have to wipe out my bestest buddy completely, which feels wrong because I wasn't doing a warlike playthrough, especially seeing as it is Teddy Roosevelt. For those of you that don't know, this particular civilization is against warmongering. It's one of the things, if you play against Teddy Roosevelt and you are a warmonger, you are not going to be friends with him. So the idea that I now need to completely wipe out my friend to win this game is just a little annoying. Of course, the other alternative would have been to declare war on him the instant I met him and shoot his apostles. But that's pretty bad as well. Here's the thing. When you declare war on people, you get warmonger status. So if I declared war on him at the start, or I went to war with him now, everybody else would hate me even more than they already hate me. There's a lot of people who dislike me anyway. They just do. The way this game works is if you declare war on people, you are a warmonger, and you're probably going to end up in a lot of wars. So I haven't finished this particular game. I'm not even sure I'm going to. The idea of wiping out my friends just bothers me. It really does. They were nice to me. I know I wiped them out in one game because they were rude to me, but they weren't rude to me this time. Anyway, so yes, I do know you can use war. Good old war. Although, again, I don't like the way this is set up then, because what they're saying is the only way to win this game realistically is to be religious or warlike. Because if you're not one of those two, you will allow someone a religious victory. And believe it or not, I think religious victory is the easiest type of victory. It can occur a lot earlier than other types of victories, from what I can see. Therefore, if you don't have a defense against it, you're going to probably lose. So you've got to pick one. Are you going to be religious or are you going to be warlike? And that feels, well, that just feels annoying and somewhat backwards. Okay, having now spent probably longer clarifying the last video than the last video actually took, let's talk about the new thing that has annoyed me about the way religion is handled in this game by looking at my last game. Now, I can't finish this one because if I hit next, the game will crash. For some reason, it started to get more and more unstable, and now every time I end the turn, it just crashes to desktop. So this game is over, unfortunately. It does in my opinion, look like I'm going to win, and win a science victory. I've been very, very careful. I'm winning the cultural race, but I'm trying to keep it under control so that I'm never going to be too far over what they need. That's Germany, for example. So I don't know. That could be a little dangerous. I'm going to have to keep my eye on that, or at least I would have. The religious one I've got under control by doing the original trick, by basically putting Inquisitors, starting an Inquisition. The problem this time started when it turns out my neighbours are a bunch of, let's just say, not very nice people, okay? I can't think of a polite word to call them. You can see here, this particular, it was Tom Myris, set up a camp literally on the border of my land. She did the same over here somewhere. And the German, he's really cheeky. He built his city. I didn't even know you could do that. I did not know that you could actually do that, but he did it. He built his city right here on my border, right next to my holy city, I might add. And that, I think that's really annoying. But here's why. Because my original plan was, again, have Inquisitors on every city and have Apostles in the holy cities on the border. Yeah? With me so far. And almost immediately they start sending their Apostles over and they start losing to my Apostles who are kicking their backside. Now what happens when an Apostle wins a fight is his religion gets spread a little bit and the enemy's Apostle gets reduced in a certain area. But because their cities are so damned close to mine, they're actually having an effect on the opponent's city. So they attack me with their Apostles. They try to convert my cities, and not only do they fail, but they manage to actually deconvert their own cities. And this is where it gets annoying, because then they send me a message saying, stop trying to convert our cities. And you've got a choice now. You can either say, okay, I'll stop doing that, I'm sorry. And then instantly the next message from them will be, you lied to us, we will denounce you. Without any pause, because I don't know why. Or you have to say, no, bite me. In which case they get annoyed with you, but that's fine. Believe it or not, it's better to do that, because then at least you're not coming across as dishonest, even though you've not tried to convert them. And pretty much the only solution for this I found was to remove my Apostles and put them at the centre. Now what actually happens is he sends his Apostles across. Some of them try to convert my cities, but I use the Inquisitors. Some of them pass through to do other lands, and if they get within range they will fight, but they're now far enough away that they're not going to affect their own cities, only mine. This seems to be a workable plan, but in my opinion, if the enemy tries to convert your cities and they fail to do so, it is ridiculous that the AI is then complaining that you're doing it to his cities when it's him doing it to his cities. This entire religious system in Civilization 6 seems a little badly tacked on. It does not seem to be integrated very well. It seems overly simplistic. It's very spammy. You've got 3 units. That's it. 3 units for the entire time. They're very, very basic. They are quite spammy. And as you can see by the faith levels you get on this particular run through, if you're building faith-based cultures, you can create lots of units. You can just keep spamming them and sending them out. You could send loads of missionaries out and totally spam your enemies, and he does the same back to you. And that's it. It's quite literally, if you were to do the domination victory the same way, it would be the equivalent of only having scouts, warriors, and perhaps slingshots, and then just creating hundreds and hundreds of them and just constantly going across the border and attacking your opponent until you win or lose. But more importantly, your opponent isn't even allowed to do anything about this, because if he does, it's an act of war type of thing. It's really annoying. It's really badly done, in my opinion. It's It was a nice idea, but I think they've used it in such a basic way. They've essentially turned the religious side of this into an alternative form of combat, more like a magic-based combat system. And rather than, I think it would be better if it was tied up more into the culture, if it assisted you in different ways. I mean, you can use the religious benefits you get to improve your science, believe it or not. I'm actually doing that with this run through. You could perhaps use it to boost your combat effectiveness and so on. You could use it to boost your culture. But the idea that you just send waves of wizards at him or fight off waves of his wizards, it's just... I don't know. They've crossed a line somewhere. I'm not impressed with it. And it is not because I don't know how to beat it. I do know how to beat it. It's the first thing in a Civilization game where I felt they've just not got it right, and I stand by that. The more I play it, the more I think religion is just not well done in Civilization 6, and I do apologise for anyone who's a fan of it. And don't get me wrong, I can see the appeal of doing a religious victory. It's just... You know, I'm not even that, I've got to be honest with you, I'm not even that keen on the cultural victory tourism. It's just what? But at the same time, I think it's better done. And something else about the cultural victory is you can get into it later on. If you notice you're losing the cultural victory and you're worried about someone doing a cultural victory, you can actually turn it around. You can start focusing in that area. Whereas if the religious victory seems to be imminent and you haven't founded a religion, you're done. Your only other option is all-out war. So there you go. That's my next rant on Civilization 6, the religious victory. Now, I can't finish this particular game. As I said, it keeps crashing, which is really annoying. And I think I'm going to stop playing Civilization 6 for quite some time until they fix that particular crashing problem, but also until they... I think they need to do some tweaking on the religious side, maybe some rethinking. I do know I can disable the religious victory. I do know that. And my plan was, once I'd done enough normal victories, I would probably disable everything, only allow domination, pick a huge map, epic timescale, and do one of those, you know, 3-week-long games that you just play a few hours for, well, possibly for months, and win by domination, because I like the domination win. Yes, I do. But I like to win the other way as well. So, anyway, I'm just rambling now, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for listening, and yeah, leave your comments down below. I am curious as to what you guys think. Is there a way that the religious victory could be improved, could be integrated better, could allow you to enjoy that aspect of it without feeling like it just kind of gets in the way and annoys you? So yeah, leave a comment down below.